Common challenges and solution regarding loan apps and their operation. There are basically two types of loan apps. We have the registered loan apps and the unregistered ones. The registered ones are those that are regulated by the FCCP and the central bank, while the unregistered ones are those that are not with any regulation, and as such, they can go forth to dehumanize people and do things outrageously. However, it is important to know that the strength of many of these organizations is the ignorance of people, and that is why we are doing videos such as this to educate us or to educate people generally on knowing their rights as loaners. It is rather natural to pay back loans and honor the interest, but many times the loan organizations does not make this possible. There are five illegal things that many loan organizations do, and this is why many people find it very difficult to pay back, especially when they are having financial crisis or when they are dealing with life situation here and there. And because of this, some even go out there to borrow. And this is why we always appeal to loan app to look at these five things and then begin to structure it in a way that makes it easy for everybody. Number one is outrageous interest. Many of these loan apps claim they are microfinance bank, but their interests are somewhat very outrageous. An outrageous interest is simply an interest that goes way beyond the MPRO. The MPRO, like I've said in subsequent video, is the monetary policy rate that guides the loans that the central bank gives to local and commercial banks, and which in turn becomes a framework on how they give out loans. That means a financial institution is not supposed to give out loan with high interest rates, higher or enormously higher than that of the MPRO. So once an amount is above the MPRO outrageously, such interest can be termed exploitative and can be termed outrageous. The MPRO as it stands now stands at 27.50%. Another thing is daily overdue interest. The CBN has a framework for that also, and they say that default fee should be charged at 1% for a month, and it cannot be more than 3 months or 90 days in a row, because once payment is not being made at 90 days, such a loan or such a finance is not termed non-performing, and that simply means that it will be halted and so that it can be reviewed. Another thing they do that is actually wrong is not to allow for restructuring. Naturally, when you take a loan, especially when you are a regular customer of any company and you take a loan and you owe to pay back, and for some reasons or the other you have a challenge that will tend to make that loan not possible to pay back at that date, you have a right to walk into the financial institution and ask them for a restructuring. Ask them that where this loan is supposed to be paid in next 1 year, I'd like to make it 3 years. So what am I adding to it? And naturally, they are not supposed to go. It's supposed to be just restructuring should not be more than 1% per year. That's all negotiable. They don't allow for this, and it makes it very hard to come to a point with them. The third thing they do that is wrong is actually on the issue of loan harassment. They are not supposed to reach out to you and begin to disturb you to come and take loan, or you are trying to settle a loan and they are telling you, hey, we can top it up. No, you can take another loan, but you cannot restructure a particular loan and start running with new APRO, and at the end of the day they make that loan sometimes 500%, and this is outrageously wrong. That thing they do that can be very wrong is the use of threats and defamation, as loan is not criminal offense, and the only way to request for loan is by strictly negotiation. And this is why, as a loan community or as a loaner or as a lender, there are certain amounts you cannot give over the outside the counter. There are certain amounts you cannot give without being physical. There are certain amounts that cannot go without collateral or the physical presence of a guarantor. And most times when loans are given, it becomes what we call free loan. That means loan without collateral, loan without the presence or the consent of a guarantor. Many of these loan organizations tend to threaten people, use defamation of any kind, lie against them on their social platform. These are actually wrong thing. But let's really talk about it from the beginning. I want you to understand that as one who have taken a loan, you should understand certain rights that you have. And it is sad that in our nation today, people see loan as, a wrong thing. If you say you take a loan, most people will see you like you're a thief, you are not responsible, you are this and that. And so it makes it very, very shameful. And naturally, loans, even loan organization, microfinance bank were established to give loans to SME, that's small, medium scale enterprise, and so that they can run their business, and then when return comes, they can pay back. But we're in a day where people take loan for almost every reason. They take loan to come out from an immediate trouble, and they take loan to settle, urgent situations, urgent bills. People even take loan just to eat, just to clear bills, and this becomes something that is of utmost concern, because you're supposed to take a loan primarily with a structure to pay back, right? You're supposed to take a loan primarily with a structure to pay back. So the financial institutions may need to begin to look at their framework. The reason is because people's eyes are gradually becoming opened, and because their eyes are gradually becoming opened, they will not for long, those methods they have employed of harassment, of lying, sending false and fraudulent forms will not work out, because one of the reasons why loans organization cannot charge people, does not charge people to court, is because should those people appear in court, the judges will be forced to use the constitution, and there's barely anything that will support what the loaners are doing, because we live in a day and time where everything seems to be bare. The internet is there, evidences are there to see that their medium manner of operation and even the advantage they are taking is bad. The only strength that loan apps may want to use is the use of choice and agreement, that yes, our prices are outrageous, yes, our interests are outrageous rather, yes, we give short time loans like 7 days loan to 1 week. Oh yes, our time periods for payments can be short, but you have a choice. But you had a choice, but you should have walked away. Well, while that is true, we should also forget that people can make choice based on duress. They can make choice based on the urgency of their challenges and their trouble, and at the end of the day, they tend to come to their senses. And one may not say, okay, fine, they've come to their senses, they should look for a way to pay out. And that's what many people have been trying to do, because there should always be a way to pay out. But of all the methods, of all the things that loan organizations are doing wrong, nothing pains me more than the fact that they don't allow the fact that they don't recognize challenging situation, they don't allow for restructuring, and makes it unbearable. Somebody's already struggling to pay, let's say 20,000 naira, or let's just say 20 Ghana cedis, and here you are, suddenly, that person is struggling for like 2 months to pay that money. Here you are, suddenly borrowing that same money with overdue interest of almost 200,000 naira or 200 Ghana cedis. How do you want him to get the money? So that will push a lot of people to be moving from one app to the other, and they think that they are in this endless circle they will never come out from. There are people, we have seen cases of people that are owing just 11,000 naira and has paid over 600,000 naira because of daily interest, but not really daily interest. They don't know their rights. And so, like the saying, the law court is the hope for the common man. And that's why we are canvassing that we should work on the structure. If loan app develop this attitude of making the loans, the loan structure favorable for all, constitutional, people will begin to pay their loan, find it easy to pay their loan. Why would they pay their loan? Because now they know that these apps are doing that thing which is right. And if they are doing that thing which is right, when you default, they also have the right to, to sue you to court, to use the law against you. There will not even be need for defamation. There will not be need for anything. If, for example, you want to take a loan, there should be prices of loan that cannot be taken online, like I mentioned earlier. You want that person to come in person, and in places where you don't have an operation, you can't give. There are organizations like that, though. They don't give loan outside the spaces where they stay. These loan apps are so funny. Are you aware that there are loan organizations that are just based in Abuja? and they will be giving loan to somebody that will be far in Owerri, over the counter. How much are they giving? 4 million naira. That is careless. You understand? If the absence of person physically coming, there should also be the presence of a guarantor, at least the consent. They give out loan without consent of those guarantors. Sometimes you impute the organization, loan organization, some of them, when you say provide your guarantor's number, and they will provide the number, and they will just flash the number. They don't even call that person to verify. They just flash. So you're going to see that paying back loan is more difficult, not because people don't want to pay, because the loan are part of the system why they don't want people to pay. And the truth is this: if we want to be sincere with ourselves, loan apps just want you to be paying that overdue interest forever and ever, and that's not our portion. And so that's why we are bringing the laws to you, to let you know the structures that guide the loan, that is supposed to guide a loan, and so that you can be strong, because we are believing and we are trusting God. We have started a movement and we are reaching every part of the nation, and the authorities are beginning to come to look at it actually on this operation of these loan apps and how wrong they are and how they can curb it, because people are dying. People are literally losing their sanity, losing their life because they are owing, and not because they cannot pay back, because the loan organization makes it impossible to pay back. For example, anything that does any of these things I just mentioned, you can imagine CBN has a structure that once a loan is not performing for 90 days, nothing like overdue interest should be added to it, right? CBN also said that once a loan has defaulted, you should add 1% of what they took for just a given month. So let's start with those two. If I'm owing 20,000 naira, it means that if I default in my 20,000 naira, at the end of the month, you can only add 200 naira. That's 1% in a given month. And if you do this for 3 months, say you move the loan to non-performance and keep it there against me. Now, in developed countries, they are the work of the credit bureau, because in the credit bureau in developed countries, they report it to the credit bureau in developed countries or many other countries. It is a serious trouble. But the reason why ours is not so serious, or is not serious, it's not because the credit bureau is not powerful, to flag anything you are doing, but they know that if they do that, it will result to the law. So it's either the constitution is being neglected or is abolished, and that's wrong, because many countries in Africa are guided and run by the constitution. So you're going to see it makes it easy to follow the law when you follow the law. It makes it easy to abide by the law when you follow the law. There should be restructuring in outrageous interest. There should be restructuring in daily overdue. You see now, there should be a clear following. Loan apps can actually make it also. In as well as they have emergency loan, then there should be limits. Number 3, there should be limits in the amount that they give for emergencies. There should be limits. How much is a salary structure? How much is minimum wage? There should not be careless refunds. So while we are looking at this, while we are looking at some of these things that loan apps should take note of, it is good for you to understand certain rights. The registered loan apps are some of the major problem we're having. We found that recently that even those ones that, as it were, are registered under the FCCP, they tend to also use this evil and uneducated method to recover loan. How? Defamation. Go to people's Facebook page, write RIP there, comment that they are thieves. Any loan app that does that to you, you do not owe them anything, no matter what. Once they break the concept of privacy, which is reaching out to only the people you provided, break into contact you did not tell, they have actually breached that contract. You don't owe them. So such organizations are fraudulent. They are the ones that are pressured. That's why we always advise people. The best advice is avoid loan apps. Avoid them. If you must, stay within the confine of what you can pay. Not all loan apps can report you to the credit bureau. That's just the truth. It's interesting, although we know some bad ones are also able to report you to the credit bureau. That's why when you default in your loan, stop paying. Not because you don't want to pay, except you have the entire money to pay. When you default in your loan, stop paying unless you have the entire money to pay. If you have the entire money to pay, it's fine. Pay, close it up, then demand for a letter or a certificate of non-indebtedness that will help you for your BVN, and we'll explain that later. Now, when you stop paying, the reason why you need to stop paying is because they are not following the regulation of monthly overdue. What they rather do is daily overdue. Now, the more you are paying, the more the other regulation of the 90 days hot will not work out, because you are making, anytime you pay, you reactivate 90 days. So you have to stop paying totally once you have defaulted. What will happen is that they will proceed to report you to the credit bureau. There are loan apps that report you immediately to the credit bureau when you default. Right? When you report you to the credit bureau, what you need to do, that is where the credit bureau is, where you go and then begin to answer them. That's when you go and begin to talk to them. What are you talking to them? Is that you are going to settle them and settle what you people initially agreed. Right? Initially agreed, or at much settle what you owe them, or let them know what you are paying. And once you are doing that, you're going to request for a letter of non-indebtedness. You see, now that's how to deal with it. So it's safe to say you focus on those that can report you to the credit bureau. If you're going to pay when you have, and clear it once and for all. Request for a letter of non-indebtedness and then be free. Now, there are apps that cannot defame you. We have what we call Tier 1 Microfinance Bank. I've mentioned some of them, but I'm not paid to do adverts for them. So, as there are some of them, you literally know them. They are licensed. In fact, they write it boldly that they are licensed by the CBN. Before you take money from loan organization, ensure it is registered. The reason is because the registered ones cannot defame you. They have a face. You understand? They have a face in the sense that you can hold them accountable. Say, hey, this thing you are doing, this thing you did, you defamed me, you can hold them. But they already started, you can't see them. It can just be one boy or one young lady in their house using her phone to just tweet and just control your emotions, mess you up the way she like, get another SIM card, mess you. Registered loan apps cannot do that. Although we have some that does that, and it's quite funny. That's why your strength is to know the law. But however, if you are going to deal with them, deal with only CBN licensed microfinance bank, because they are strongly regulated by the FCCPC and also the CBN. Right? Now, another reason why you should avoid loan app is because of your BVN. Now, if you borrow money from loan apps, you will see what happens is that as you deal with them, they create an account for you inside their app. You understand what I mean? They create an account for you inside their app. That account, you don't control it. They are the one that control it. That means you don't have full or absolute control. You don't know what the future holds. They can have issues tomorrow, and that your account is in trouble, because they can use that account they created for you for money laundering. They can withdraw money from somewhere or fraudulent money and use your account because they control it. We are not saying they are all bad. We are saying that it is safe. It is better to be safe than be sorry. So that's why when you have settled this microfinance bank, learn to ask for a letter of non-indebtedness and ensure that no activity is going on there from your end. How do you actually handle the cases of defamation and harassment? The first thing to do when you take any loan is to ensure you take a snapshot of your deal of agreements, because these people can edit what's there. Take a snapshot, keep it. Number two, when you send money into those apps, well, that will be easy. Always learn to keep your record. It is very important. Now, when a loan organization defames you, what do? It is very simple. The first thing to do is to ensure you keep your evidence. If they insult you on WhatsApp, ensure you screenshot it in a way that WhatsApp number will show. Next thing to do is to forward it to the necessary authority. Let them know that you have been defamed. Forward it to CBN, complaint units, forward it to FCCPC. They will help you to reach out to that organization, and then they'll put them under scrutiny. But it doesn't stop there. Now, we are already aware that the cybercrime law has been passed. That means that any cyberbullying, whether WhatsApp, anywhere, you can contest it in a court of law. So, know your rights. Know your right. The fact that you are owing somebody does not give them the right to defame or harass you. In fact, immediately they defame or harass you, it is an automatic clearance of any loan that you owe them, because they have breached the agreement. You have the right not to pay. In fact, they are the one that owe you in court. So that's how to deal with them. You need to report them. Then on a bigger ground, the activities that we have been mentioning so far that are illegal, we want to also report them to CBN so that the attention be drawn to the manner of operation of these loan organizations, how that they are far from the regulations that is supposed to guide them. I'm crying over two things now: the daily overdue and the exploitative interest. It makes it very impossible and very hard for people to pay back their loan. It is not good for anybody to take loan in general, but life happens to people, and you may not know. So we must report them right to FCCPC that they should look at the activities of these apps and how that they are far from the CBN rules. What are the CBN rules? Number one, we have the Consumer Protection Act of the FCCPC that clearly prohibits exploitative rates, interest rates. Number two, the CBN regulation for service and charge fee for loan. The interest rate upon loan should be in harmony with the MPRO. That means the MPRO should guide how they give out loan. When you want to give out a loan, look at the MPRO. Yes, you can add your service fee. Yes, you can add your processing fee, but it cannot be now enormously different from the MPRO. If MPRO is saying 27% and you do 37%, you are actually high, but it's still fine. Not that you are doing 100, 200%. That's very crazy. And so we are forcing them to do the right thing. Well, the beauty is this: if you owe a loan app money and you have actually paid what you owe them, you can sue them and not proceed further if you are knowing this law now that you will not pay the other one. Why? Because the rate they give is already against the law. Yeah. And if they ask why are you not going to pay, you say it's against the law. The law have said it must be in sensitivity with the MPRO. So as long as it's against the law, you can choose not to complete that payment. But many people don't have heart for that. They don't have time for allowing the law, process. Okay, fine, just pay. It's fine. But the point is this, is that while you are doing this, you must learn to join the fight to kick against, to ensure that loan organizations do the right thing in our nations and in our neighboring nations. We have people crying from Ghana, Namibia, Zambia, and it's the same thing because everybody is paying a blind eye. So we must curb this evil and remove it. We are calling on all bodies. We are calling on the legal body, Nigeria Bar Association. If you are a finance lawyer, I'd like you to write me inbox. We have a lot of operation we have on ground, and I may also push your profession and also be a way to give your service to the nation. We already have some. We still need more. News personnel have been reaching out to us. We want to also thank you. I want to thank all our news personnel. I want to thank Loan Shark Review. Is the one that actually started this movement and is spreading like a wildfire across the nation and even the world. That borrowers should loan their rights, and also those that give out loan should be controlled, should work within guidelines and not extort people or make people depressed. So if you are owing a debt, you are not in a big mess, Lastly, before I go, there are people that are so afraid of defamation, that this will make people know and they will finish someone. The truth is this: if you are still afraid of defamation, you are giving them power. Just know that 90% of loan organizations in Nigeria are operating against the CBN standard, and if they defame you, it makes matter worse. So know your rights. Owing debts and you cannot come out of it, take a break, right? Don't pay through the app, don't visit the app, take a break, calm down, recover. When you are strong again to pay financially, pay through the credit bureau. That way you can begin to invoke all the rights. You can begin to invoke all the regulations that they may have neglected within the app. I'll be coming your way for part 2. Follow this page for more. Thank you.